it's related to people managing the mental health at workplace. And managing mental health along your work means it depends on a lot of other factors as well. Maybe our personal life will get also impacted. Like in case if you are happy, then our work will also, we will be able to do work properly as well. And
Correct.
it all depends on time management as well. In case if we say managing mental health along with our work, so that's what I do.
Very well said. Actually, that's like it includes almost all the factors that we were thinking about. Now, today, in this era of, I would say, work
Correct.
from
It all
home,
depends on time
online.
management as well. In case if we say
Okay.
managing mental health along with our work, so that's what I do.
Very well said. Actually, that's like it includes almost all the um, factors that we were thinking about. Now, today, in this
Muskan, there's a bit of double
correct
noise
from
on my end. I
online.
can hear
In case if we say
this session again.
mental health along with our
Yeah, all right. Thank you. So, coming back, if we are to talk about today's time of online work, work from home, and everything in that manner, how many of us feel that work hours are limited to 9 to 5 or 9 to 3, or the strict time that we spend in the office? But then when we are back at home, when the work hours are supposed to be over, we are still thinking about work. We are still stressing over things that happened during the day while we were at work, or the tasks that we got. Does that happen to us? Yes or no? Chat box is always open for that.
Yes, yes.
Then would it be right to say that when we talk about workplace mental health or managing the mental health along with work, there's a fine line that we need to set, maybe some boundaries that where we are able to differentiate workplace stressors and our personal life. Professional life is one thing, personal life is one thing, right? If you talk about health in general, um, I a lot of people might be going to the gym, right? Or a lot of people might be into fitness, or some may be into poetry, some may be into writing, some or the other hobby everybody has. But what if you overdo it? Even to think logically, even to visit the gym regularly to build a muscle or to build fitness or increase your fitness levels, can you go on to say, can you spend gym time in the gym for like 8 hours every day or 10 hours? Is that possible?
No.
No. And but to build your fitness level, can we spend 1 hour every day in the gym and then come back the next day? Why is that possible? Because we allow ourselves to recover after that 1 hour. We go back home. We allow our bodies to rest. We allow our bodies to recover, re-energize, and then come back the next day. Correct? Similarly, when we talk about workplace mental health or managing our own mental health is not just about the absence of a mental illness. It's about how well we are able to keep our mind fit, how well we are able to keep our emotions fit. So it's important that after the working hours are over, we allow our minds to re energize, we allow our minds to relax, we allow ourselves to recuperate. I don't know how many people here have a good sleep pattern or a bad sleep cycle, but does everyone here get a 6 hours sleep every night or 6 hours of sleep every day? Is there anyone who does not? We have one no. Is there anyone else? I see three no's and one yes. It's good to see three more yeses. Okay. Okay, great.
We can do a
And
poll, Shruti, if you want on anything. You can just ask me. I'll publish the poll. Everybody can vote on it. We can see the
okay,
number.
all right. Okay, great. I see a lot of yeses. In fact, more yes than no, which is a good part. Because
if we don't have this 6 hours of sleep that we've often heard, what happens is our mind doesn't really sleep on the problems that we've had that day. And the next morning when we wake up, because we've not had that time to re-energize, we'll wake up irritable. Or even sometimes when that 6 hours of sleep is um not very silent, we wake up in the middle hours. In the morning, you'll realize that you're a bit irritable, and then you go to your work and your boss says something, and then all hell breaks loose. Or some people who are used to having a morning coffee or a morning tea, someday, if by chance, we skip it and then we go to the work, what happens? None, none of us, or the person is usually not able to perform to the best. At that time, if the task comes up, they're like, no. And even the tiniest of tasks or the easiest of tasks may take up to like 2 or more. Okay. So the tiniest of tasks, a task, a simple task that may take up to say 1 hour will go on to take 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. But if we have had our regular pattern, a regular sleep, a regular morning tea, a morning thing, or whatever makes you feel good, then that simple task takes time. Even a lot of coders here or any person, there are times when we get stuck on a problem, and then that irritates us so much that 4 hours later we're still not able to complete that problem, right? And the more time we spend, the more irritated we get about it. But then the next day, sometimes we take a pause, and the next day when we visit, the same problem gets solved in a minute. Why does that happen? Because we let our minds rest. So if you keep poking something again and again and again, hoping that it will perform better, hoping that it will perform in a more energized manner or things will solve, that's not the way. For your body, for your mind to function properly, you also need to give it rest. You also need to allow it to perform better. By just asking it to perform better, it won't happen. You need to provide yourself with resources. You need to provide yourself with strategies. You need to provide yourself with a proper routine so that your body performs in a certain way or your mind performs in a certain way. Okay. So when I talk about mental health is a state of well-being, yes, in which the individual realizes their own abilities. You can cope with the normal stresses of life. You can work productively, and you're also able to make some contributions to the community. It's not just about the absence of mental health, but it's a holistic approach which also tackles your emotional health, your psychological well-being, your social well-being. How easily can you form fulfilling relationships? And when I say relationships, it's not just about romantic partners. It's also about friends, family, work, colleagues, your relationship with the boss, your relationship, maybe say with a friend, your siblings, how often you talk to your mother or father or anyone. Relationships can be anywhere, right? So mental health is about finding a balance amongst all aspects of your life, recognizing and managing your stress, fulfilling relationships, and making contributions to your community. Now, in the workplace, employees often encounter various stressors that can impact their mental well-being. Now, these stressors can be high workloads, tight deadlines, a lack of work-life balance, as we said that even after going home, we are thinking about work. Now, this pressure to meet the performance expectations and this constant multitasking, I'm cooking, but at the same time, because I'm working from home, I'm also attending a meeting. And then suddenly the team lead calls my name and asks me, what are you doing? What is your view on this topic? But then because we are so involved in the cooking or some other task, we are like, can you please repeat the question? What did you just ask me? Right. Now, that's also overworking our minds. If there's a proper way to multitask, or if we are asking our mind to perform in such a good way, then we also need to reward it for performing well, right? In the childhood, when we used to complete a run, or when we used to complete the homework, or after visiting school for 6 hours, we used to reward ourselves, or our parents used to reward ourselves with some playtime.
We completed our homework, then we used to go to play. And then maybe come back and study a bit more. But then we used to go to watch TV. So the pattern there was work or study, take a break, study, take a break, study, instead of work, 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 or study, study, study. That's not how it happens. The time management there, or the schedule, the routines that you have, it plays a huge role. Even if um, people in a companies, the HRs, when you have joining sessions, everybody initially talks about, yes, we have a very, very good work culture. Yes, we are providing a work environment where we want you to focus on yourself, but maybe also good spend good time for the company, but also focus in your work or your health. But then 2 months later, we are only focusing on the work and the health is somewhere else. And because we want to perform well for the company, we also prioritize the work over our own health. But where does that take us? We can continue that pattern for a week, 2 weeks, month, 2 months. But in the third month, we will feel like, what are we doing? I want to leave this company. Or like and then that's when we start cursing our bosses, our team leads, our colleagues are like, too much work, I don't want to do this. That's also how is there anyone who's experienced this? That okay, 1 week I've constantly worked, and the weekend also the boss calls me up, and because we are not able to stretch, or we're not able to define a clear boundary between work and personal, we are attending the calls on the weekend and then also working the deadlines there on the weekend instead of taking that weekend off for ourselves. Yes, 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 happened. Okay. All right. All right. So when I talk about identifying and discussing these stressors, it's important to acknowledge that these stressors are not just part of your normal life. It's part of your work life. Work is a part of your life, not your entire life. Maybe it may be accommodating like 70% of your life right now, but that still means there's 30% more to your life. And to work well on that 70%, you also need to pay attention to that 30%. For some people, work may only be 30%, but then we are focusing so much on that 30%. We are not at all talking about what is in that 70%, right? Yesterday, I was talking to a 40-year-old female. Okay, she's a housewife and she supports her children, she supports her husband to go to work every day, work very well. But then because we've not been able to, say, we've always spent time on what others want, what others feel, or I want my husband to perform well, or I focus too much time on my children, I want them to study well, do well. I asked a simple question to her. What's your favorite meal? What's your favorite food item? It took her 15 minutes to come up with an answer which said, I like to cook this particular dish for my husband, but I don't know what I like for myself. If I ask you right now, all of you, what's your favorite dish? I really want to know now. Chat box is open. If you want to unmute, you can.
I agree what happened with your client. I'm in the same place.
But is that the right thing to happen? If you find yourself a few months later where you cannot recognize your own likings, I think it's a very good
Yes.
indicator that it's time to pay attention to your own selves.
Yeah. Off late, I realized that that's why I'm in your session now.
All right. So, addressing and mitigating these stressors is essential. Okay, I see a lot of diff यार ये सब पढ़ के ना dinner time वैसे ही हो रहा है. A lot of good dishes I see here. Okay, let's switch to another topic. But yes, I am glad that you're able to you know what your likings are so far, and please maintain that. Okay. Addressing and mitigating these stresses is essential for creating a supportive work environment. And a supportive work environment includes prioritizing your overall well-being. You, your colleagues, your team lead, your juniors, your team members, the freshers, everyone. Okay.
So mental health plays a pivotal role in your job performance, in your productivity. A positive mental state may enhance your cognitive functions, your decision making, creativity, problem solving. As we already discussed, if we are having a bad day, a simple task may take 2 hours longer just because we are not in that good or positive state of mind. Okay. Now let's consider two stories. Okay, एक story is of Shruti. Okay, she struggled with untreated anxiety. She's being very anxious, and each day she's able to, boss calls her on the weekend, she attends the call. 5 hours, 9 to 5 she's done. At 6 p.m. also she's working. She's working overtime. She's working on the weekends. There is no time for friends, no time for family, no time for anyone. Just working, and working. And now, sometime later, there's untreated anxiety on her end. Whenever the new task is presented, she gets anxious because again more tasks is piling up. There's no time for her own self, no time to take care, the self-care that we highlight these days. Okay. And due to this, the mental health is declining, and so did her job performance. On top of that, she got a demotion. On top of that, the manager gave her a bad review. The colleagues are no longer talking to her. The inability to manage the stress has led to a lot of missed deadlines, strained relationships. Basically, the overall quality of work has declined. Okay. Now, what kind of experiences does does Shruti have now? Um, the experiences are, I spent so much time on my work and still everything is going down the drain. What do I do? I spent maybe all 7 days of my week. I gave all my time to my work, and yet it's not giving me any benefit. Yet it's not profitable. Yet I am here with anxiety sitting with the therapist. But then on the other hand, we have Ayush. Ayush is a very good employee. He incorporates mindfulness in his practice. He has a proper routine. Um, he makes sure that he never attends business calls on weekends until and unless it's a very good emergency, a very important one. Okay. Or he makes sure to establish boundaries with his boss or the colleagues itself that, okay, I will not be entertaining any work calls after 6 p.m. or I won't be entertaining any work calls after 8 p.m. Even if I do, Ayush has a clear boundary where he says, okay, 6 to 8 or evening hours are for my friends and family. I'm only going to spend time with them. I won't entertain any work calls there. On the weekends, on one day, I will at least pick one activity that I do for myself. I'll go for a jog. I'll go for paintings. I'll walk my dog. I'll just listen to music. Maybe I'll just sit in my home and watch TV, binge TV shows. Okay. But what does it lead to? It led to Ayush's improved mental well-being because he was able to differentiate between his professional and personal life. He was able to draw a line between he was able to identify what works for him and what doesn't. Overexhaustion led to led to a demotional, led to a stressful work life where you're not satisfied. But exerting yourself with time to recuperate, with time to re-energize, with time to relax, led to a good productive day, led to a good productive week and an year. And
Shruti, I have a question. Do you
okay,
mind if I ask it?
please go
Should I
ahead.
go ahead? Yeah, so my question is that as you mentioned that we need to separate our personal life and professional life. I understand about it, but sometimes what happens that in our subconscious mind, it keep we keep thinking about work related stuff. Let's say suppose while I'm sleeping, in my dream it just came up that I just stuck in a court, or suppose I don't have a good communication with my manager, how to resolve it.
Okay.
So this type of thinking, suppose I don't want it to bring in my home, I wanted to keep separate my professional life and personal life. But what happened that for I mean in our subconscious mind it keep around revolving, and we don't have the control of our subconscious mind. In that case, it's pretty much difficult for us to segregate the professional life and personal life. So for this stuff, can you please tell us that how
Okay.
can we separate that? Yeah.
Understood your point very well. Very well said, because a lot of times dreams have all the information that we're not able to think consciously. Subconscious has a lot of stuff. That is why there's a filter between the subconscious and the conscious.
Yeah.
Because if we started paying attention to the subconscious, we'll be all over the place. Correct.
Yeah.
But then, if this stuff is happening too often, where you're too often thinking about what your manager is saying in your dreams, I think it's also a sort of indicator that maybe next day when you are at work, you need to talk to your manager. Because if things are recurrent in your dreams, wouldn't it suffice to say next day when you're at work, think why or what was the manager saying in that dream? Or what was that issue that you're constantly thinking about even when you're sleeping? Why is that happening? Right? Instead of just overthinking it every day, it's important to address that if you've dreamt about it, that means it's taking up a lot of space in your subconscious.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that's
specifically, not about also the manager. I mean, I just give you the example, but along with that,
Mhm.
some work-related stuff. I know
Understood.
that I'm just stuck in a problem. I know
Mhm.
that, within 2 days, definitely within a sprint, let's say within 2 weeks, I have the
Mhm.
deadline. I need to, solve the issue. I know that. But what happened that, I know that within 2 days, I can definitely resolve the issue. But it keep just, coming in my mind when in my personal space that, okay, let's say suppose, I wanted to spend time with my family while talking to
Mhm.
my family. It just, keep in a subconscious mind that, okay, how can you, solve that, or whatever the problem I was facing it just keep in that way. I know that I can able to solve the problem within 2 days, but maybe I'm a pretty much pretty much say that I wanted to solve it as soon as possible. But yeah, I mean, I know that I can solve that, but it just keep reminding me that I need to resolve this issue as soon as possible. So how to overcome on that? Because I'm not thinking consciously, it's just subconscious mind, it's just came into my mind. Yeah.
Okay. From what you said, there are two things to highlight important. First, that it's happening in your subconscious. Maybe it's happening subtly. You're thinking about it when you're with your family or when you're sleeping. But
Yeah.
at the same time, you know that you can complete that task
Yeah.
in 2 days.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Then one question that I would like to ask. When you're thinking about it when with your family, just an example, let's take up this hypothetical situation. Does
Mhm.
it impact how you behave with your family?
No, what happened that, usually, I mean, the impact is that, sometimes when I had a conversation, let's say, with my parents, right? So we
Mm-hmm.
can discuss many things. We can discuss with our career related stuffs, or we can discuss about any other stuffs. But sometimes what happened that, I end up being discussed with my parents most of the career related stuff. It's not like that I'm not doing well in my career. I'm pretty much doing well in my career. But what happened that pretty much I was a bit conscious about everything. So pretty much, I end up with most of the discussion on with my parents revolves 90% of my times about my career discussion, what's going on, how my which company is giving the more hike, in which project to have the more hike, what is the
Okay,
career scope after 2 years. So pretty much on
got it.
that.
Got
Yeah.
it. So, and do you find that troublesome?
I mean, the troublesome means definitely what I feel that I just introspect about it. So what I feel that it's not
Introspect
pretty much,
about it. Correct.
yeah.
Correct.
So
So, um, when I say that there should be a difference between your professional and your personal life, yes.
yeah.
But if there's a task on our head, even when we were sitting for exams,
Hmm.
if we are totally carefree about what's going to happen in the exam and how it's going to go, that's not right. Right? Even
Yeah.
with stress, there are two types of stress. One
Yeah.
is eustress, which is the good stress, and one is the bad stress, right? The good
Hmm.
stress and bad stress, there's a fine line. If you're thinking about it, okay, because that's also pushing you to work towards your task, right? If you're
Yeah.
totally not stressing about it, totally not thinking about it, being absolutely carefree, there's a good chance you're going to miss the deadline because you're not even thinking about the task.
Hmm.
Subconsciously, your mind is working over the task, you are figuring
Yeah.
out things. But the important term here is subconsciously. And why I asked is how you're behaving with the family there is because if the task is interfering or the stress of the work is interfering about how you're behaving in the family,
That's
Hmm.
when it's a problem. If you start, just because there is a stress about a task at work and you start getting angry at your sister, or you
Yeah.
start getting irritable with your parents,
Yeah.
that's a problem. But if you know that, yes, the task is gonna get complete. Yes, I know it's a work stress. It's stressing me out a bit, maybe for another week because the task is reaching a deadline.
Mhm.
And but I know, right? That insight is there.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That
one more thing,
that insight is
fortunately,
important.
yeah, thanks a lot for your, guidance. And what happened that, sometimes, fortunately, I am working in a such company who really value the well-beings. And in our company, for every 2 months, we do have separate well-being leave also. They actually give us to rejuvenate with our family and all of that. But sometimes what happened that, in a month, let's say of 4 weeks. So not every week, yeah, went or go into the stress less. In some week, there are lots of tasks and lots of deadlines to be meet up. So what I observe that sometimes when the stress is get increased, or the deadline it's just get too much. So I personally feel irritable, and that actually also reflect with the behavior with my parents and all of that. So just wanted to ask with you that how to keep not irritable when the stress is too much or the deadline is just pushy. My manager is just pushing me to to do the task within a tight deadline. How can we restrict our this thing not to reflect our
Right.
personal life? Yeah.
Your question is absolutely valid. In fact, that was this part I was going to cover towards the later part of the session,
Okay. Okay.
about the later parts of the webinar, about how we can manage, what are some coping strategies that we can implement, to rejuvenate ourselves, or maybe so if you don't mind, I will circle back to this
Sure.
towards maybe in another 10 minutes, because we're a bit
Sure.
short in time. I see it's already
Sure.
9, so I'll cover two things briefly, and then I will be sharing a link with you. Okay,
Yeah.
and it's basically a coping toolbox, and let's see
Okay.
what all of us do when we near deadlines, or when we're nearing a task, and let's see how we cope. Okay,
Sure. Sure. Thank you.
all right. In fact, now that we're on the topic, let's do this activity right now. Okay, so because we've been talking so much about work, deadlines, tasks, okay, and how we're gonna manage everything, and how we sometimes, like I also mentioned about pattern being work, free time, work, personal time, work, instead of work, 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 and work. Correct? So I think, yes, there are some ways that as psychologists, as therapists, or as people, even team leads, we suggest to people. But then there must also be some ways that you are already using. Correct? It could be something as simple as listening to music. It could be as simple as cooking. It could be as simple as going for a walk, or talking to a friend, talking to a sibling. It could be anything. So, in the chat section, I've added a link to a coping toolbox. What I want you to do is go to the link. You will see a whiteboard in front of you. You can simply add a note there and answer the question written. How do you personally manage stress at work? Share a quick tip or a technique or anything. Now, this can include any links. It can include musics that you might listen to, anything that you'd like to do. It can include anything, anything. It's a coping toolbox. Your ways to relax, rejuvenate, and manage stress are your very own. Is the link accessible to everyone?
Yeah, I'll let people know. Some people may not be able to understand how to use it. So there's this plus option in the right bottom side. So when you open the link, please go on to that plus option, okay? And it will give you the subject and whatever you want to write. So please write it using that. Shruti, when like if everybody is doing this activity, I also had one more question in my mind.
Hmm?
So generally, when I uh, talk to somebody, thoda sa, that person is, elder than me, they generally say that dreams do have a connection with our life. We generally dream about something that we are maybe, stressed about, or something we are fascinated about. So is that true कि अगर we are sleeping at night and we are thinking about work, there are chances of getting a dream regarding that only?
Absolutely. So when we say dreams, when we talk about dreams, you must also okay. Let's identify a recent dream that we've had. How many times has it happened कि आज whatever happened during the day, in some twisted version, we've seen things related to that in our dream. It can be about a good day, it can be a bad day, it can simply be about going to a restaurant, meeting a friend, and then later on seeing that friend in our dream in an entirely different setting, maybe, but we see that person in the dream. That happens. Has that happened to anyone here? Or like, is that something common that we see?
Can you repeat once?
How many times have you noticed that whatever happened during the day, something related to that is present in your dream? Maybe
Yeah,
a person that you met.
yeah.
It does not have to be the same scenario. Maybe you met a person in a restaurant and later on you are going on a trip to a magic wonderland which does not even exist in the real world with that person. Or some person that you met weeks ago somehow pops up in your head in your dream, and then the next morning you wake up and you realize, where did this person come from? I haven't even talked to him or her in so many days. That's a common thing because that's how dreams work. Okay, dreams are a representation of the things that are in your in your subconscious and your unconscious. It's an outlet. A lot of times you don't even remember what happens in your dreams because you dream during a time when you're in a very, very deep stage of sleep. But what dreams you remember is sometimes you may have woken up while you were dreaming about something. Or in the morning, it was a very recent dream when you woke up there. That's the only times you remember your dreams. A lot of times you may have had so many, you may have had like 9 dreams or 5 dreams during your entire sleep, and you may have only remembered one. That also a broken dream, not the entire thing. Totally possible that you may dream about a work task or something that's stressing you out, something that's incomplete. Usually, things, people, or tasks that may remain incomplete. You may dream about those. Or if you've had a great day, or with a great person, or you've had a great meal, that meal may pop up in your dream in a weird way because it's there in your subconscious. Your subconscious is thinking about it in a positive or a negative way. Dreams work in very, very weird ways, and people have been trying to decode those ways over the years. Okay, so on the Padlet on the screen, I see a lot of responses. Some people say walking, some people say 10-second breathing exercise, watching funny videos. Work from home gives me more flexibility. When I work from home, I go for a walk, sleep, eat something, taking a small break, going for a walk, spending time with loved ones. How to cope up with stress. I'm listening Metallica and electronic music. Amazing. Okay, maybe you can all see the Padlet now in front of your screens as well. Why I decided to create this toolbox here or to have this link here is because what coping strategy may work for one person may not work for the other, or what works for your friend may not work for you, or what works for you may not work for your friend, or maybe it works for both of you. If you see here, I see somebody's written Metallica, listening to Metallica. Now that music gives that particular person relief. But if I ask another person to listen to Metallica to make them feel relieved? Will that happen? Maybe, maybe not, right? Here is a collection of things that you can try the next time because it has worked for some person. Maybe the current strategy that you're having or using, it may not be a very well, it may not be helping you right now, or it may be. So this toolbox, because it's named a toolbox, it's a collection of various things that has worked for people. And the next time you find yourself stressed, maybe give it a try. Who knows, it might work for you. I follow a sleep meditation. This video puts me asleep. Oh, great. Even I'll give it a try sometime. All right. So, to answer the previous question about what can we do when there's a task on our head and we're constantly thinking about it. Okay, so there are some ways to reduce stress when you're nearing your deadline. Maybe what often happens is when we stress about something a lot, we are not able to cope with it, and that brings us to a stage where we're just overstressing, we're just overthinking about something. Okay. What we need to do is make our soul cells more resilient. Resilience is your ability to bounce back from a hardship. Maybe you've had a fight today at your work, or maybe you got a scolding today, or maybe you missed a deadline and now the HR's on your head. Maybe you took 2 extra days of leave and you're experiencing a pay cut. Okay. But do we let all of those things make ourselves feel bad? Maybe so for some time, which is also important. But if we go on to overthink about those, that's not the right way because we know next day it's going to impact our work. Next day it's going to impact our personal life when I'm spending time with my loved ones. So becoming resilient is very, very important. Now, I want to discuss about 4 practical stress reduction methods, some quick things that you can maybe use. First thing is mindfulness meditation. Now, mindfulness is something which is gaining very, very much more importance in these days because everybody is about becoming, everybody's becoming aware of mental health, about becoming aware of what to do, when to do, and want to get on with the latest trends. But what's mindfulness? Does anyone here know what's mindfulness? Anybody would like to
Be
take up
conscious
the
of what one is doing.
Yes, perfect. So would you like to rephrase it in a simpler way?
It's like, just to give an example, if you're having your food, just chew it very well and enjoy and relish that. Overthinking over something else or watch a video.
Okay. So can I say it's being aware of the present moment?
Yeah.
Okay. So mindfulness is, while the name seems very fancy, it's about simply being in the present because a lot of times we are physically present in a meeting or we are physically present in front of a person, but our mind is somewhere else. We're thinking about the third thing, or we're thinking about the food that we had the other day, but we are present at a meeting. Being not being in your present moment is not just about negative things. It can be anything, right? Mindfulness involves you to focus on the present, come back from that thought of overthinking, come back from that negative chain of thought, and focus on what's happening in front of you, where you are being aware of your environment, of your surroundings, of the people who are around you, of what's going on around you, the kind of sitting that you're working in, the kind of place that you're at, what you're wearing, where your fingers are, where your head is, where are your eyes focusing, what are your ears listening, what's the other person saying, and being able to actualize all of those learnings. So mindfulness is pretty much one way of one very, very popular way these days. Now, if you would meditation part of yoga, it's a very old concept, but again, mindfulness also involves meditation. There's a concept called guided meditation these days. You can find videos or practitioners where guided meditation allows you to take your mind to a place where you feel relaxed. But at the same time, you become aware of everything that's happening in a surrounding. Okay, so for example, if I ask you to close your eyes right now and imagine a forest, and you're walking in that forest, and listen to the voices of the birds, or listen to the voices of the waterfall, or how the leaves rustle, or where you are stepping, the sound that your foot makes when it walks against the mud, or how a stone feel, how the sound of a stone when it falls into the water. Okay, mindfulness is about being aware of every little thing. And mindfulness meditation is when you're becoming aware of every little thing in that peaceful setting, and all of those feelings help you relax. Okay, so mindfulness, even if you practice it a few minutes a day, it can significantly reduce your stress levels, because it helps, as we said before, we need to allow our minds to recuperate. It allows your mind to recuperate in a much faster way. A lot of times when we take vacations, we like to go for nature walks, right? When we are in the nature, when we are sitting with a scenic view in front of us, or a good view, sunrise, sunset, good mountain top, or anything that you prefer, we suddenly feel relaxed. Find ourselves at peace. So with mindfulness, you can create your that peace while being at home. And with mindfulness meditation or guided meditations, you can allow yourself, or you allow your minds to travel into that space while you are at home. The second thing would be deep breathing. Now, deep breathing is not just about taking long breaths, but it's also taking breaths from your diaphragm. When you inhale, take a 6 second inhale with me right now here. Okay, when I say inhale, everybody will take a deep breath for 5 to 6 seconds through their nose, and they will not release it until I say so. Okay, inhale, hold, 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 and release it slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. Slowly, 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 and slowly. Now, when you repeat this process of, say, inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 5 seconds, and exhaling through your mouth for 6 seconds, when you keep on doing it in this pattern, that's what entails a proper deep breathing method. A deep breathing is so simple and yet so powerful, because when you do this for even 4 tries, you'll feel your body relax. Why I say you'll feel your body relax? Okay, let's notice a simple thing. If you go for a run, how's your breathing after that? Is it fast, short breaths, something like that after going for a run? Fast, correct. And when you're angry, how do you breathe around that time? Ever paid attention to that? When you're angry, that's also, even then, your breathing is fast, your heart races. But when you're sleeping, how is your breathing? It's slow. Even when you're relaxed, when you're sitting in this session right now, or when you're doing something that you like, how is your heart beating? All of them are scenarios where it's slow, where it's normal, where your heart is beating at normal pace. When we do deep breathing, we control our breathing, we control how our heart will race in the next few minutes. We bring back our fast breathing to a normal state, to a normal level, and we are telling our body, we are physically controlling our body to feel a certain way. If it's feeling angry, you practice deep breathing, physically your body will feel relaxed, and then your mind will get
a signal that, okay, let's relax. Mind and body are not separate. A lot of times that in Three Idiots, the simple dialogue, all is well. Why did it work? It worked because we were fooling our mind around that time that everything is okay, even when it wasn't. That means there is a way that we can fool our minds, we can fool our hearts, brains. We can physically control it, think and feel or behave in a certain way. With deep breathing, we are doing something similar. We are physically asking our body to relax. We are physically making our body relax. So when you're stressed, practice deep breathing. And if you regularly practice deep breathing, it will be much more easier for you to engage in that activity when you're actually in a stressful situation. Because it's a technique, because it's a resource, it's a tool that you're equipping yourself. It's like a sword. But just because you have a sword doesn't mean that we know how to use it. To be able to use it, we need to practice. So with deep breathing, with mindful meditation, everything needs to be in a proper way, regular practice. Okay, another stressful, because we're talking about workplace management today, one way to practically reduce stress is time management. Now, with time management, I think we've all tried something or the other. When we were kids, we used to make a proper chart and paste it on our desk. 6 a.m. I'll wake up, 7 a.m. I'll go for school, 1 p.m. I'll come back, 1:10 I'll have my lunch, 3 p.m. I'll go out to play with my friends, right? We've all done something or the other of that sort. But when we talk about work, what do? We ideally we say 9 to 5 we'll work, we'll come back, we'll hang out, maybe work more, sleep, do this and that, or something or the other, right? But there is something to complete our tasks in a much more efficient manner, or even to manage our time better at work itself, complete tasks much more efficiently. There is something that we call as the Pomodoro technique. Is there anyone who knows what the Pomodoro technique is?
Yeah, I think it is. I think you have to work for around 25 to 30 minutes. Then you
Mm-hmm.
can take a small break of 5 minutes. Then
Okay.
again, you have to work. So you have to work this like iteration. Yeah.
Okay. And have you implemented it in your work?
No, not really. Because what happened that sometimes, as I mentioned you, that when you keep thinking about the problem in your workplace way, you can't able to keep in mind that okay, right now I have completed 25 minutes or 30 minutes at a stretch. Now I have to keep my mind relax for 5 minutes. So that
Mm-hmm.
thinking is not just consciously come for me at least, but yeah, I'm consciously working for it. But yeah, hopefully, I think what I have take the initiative that during meetings, usually sometimes what happened that there is a 1 hour or 1.5 hours of at a stretch meeting has happened, then usually I take around 10 to 15 minutes of break. But when I'm
Okay.
doing my task, that thing actually not come up consciously. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. Okay, as like rightly said right now, Pomodoro technique is something which helps you manage your work, your timings. So what it says is you work to productively work and efficiently work and to complete tasks on time, you work for 25 minutes. But in those 25 minutes, you have to sit with your entire concentration. Don't think about anything else, just work. Because you know a 5 minute break is coming after that. Okay, give yourself the best of concentrations that you can at the moment for those 25 minutes. Then take a break for 5 minutes. Then again, go for a 25-minute work. And when you do that thrice, the fourth time, your break will be for 30 minutes or say 15 to 20 minutes. But it will be a longer break. Your fourth break will be a longer one. And then you come back to complete your task. In this way, even small stretches of work will be much more productive, will be much more efficient. And because you're giving your full concentration in smaller patches, you will be able to complete the task in a much faster manner. Like we said initially, that work, relax, or even to recuperate, we need to pause. This technique allows you to work and pause during your work hours as well. Yes, like it was mentioned by the participant just now that sometimes we may not consciously be aware of, okay, 25 minutes have passed or I need to stop. No worries. Maybe it's a habit. It's not something that happens in a day. So if we want to complete a task which has been long pending, maybe we'll try with this technique. And if we're not getting aware of when the 25 minutes are over, we have phones today, we have alarms. Let's set up, okay, 25 minutes are over, a reminder. And during those 5 minutes, we can sit, we can get up, we can stretch, we can get a coffee, we can listen to music that we like, we can just maybe go to a website, anything that you like, anything that you can do in that 5 minute break. It can be anything at all. It can even be go to the common room and talk to your colleague because we are at work, right? So that 5 minutes has to be, yes, you may not stop thinking about the work entirely because again, you have to get back into the flow. But physically, you have to let your body relax in those 5 minutes. All right. I really hope that you all try this technique at least once and see how it works for you. And once you do it, like at least what 3 times when you practice it, I assure you, you will see some better results. At least the task which was long pending, it will start to get somewhere.
Shruti, I
Okay.
have a question here.
Mhm.
Like this method is very good, but when we say we are taking 2 to 3 breaks of 5 minutes, and then we are going for a full 30 minutes of break, right?
Mhm.
Suppose you are in a work schedule where you have a strict deadline of your shifts, like 8 hours of work and 1 hour of break. That's 9 hours. After that, the next team walks in and you have to walk out. So how do we manage that 60 minutes to take a break, have your lunch, have your snack or whatever, and then do all these things? Relax.
So when I talk about this technique, if you have enough time, if you have enough resources, you can always implement it as often as you want, right? But as you rightly mentioned, sometimes or in some work scenarios, it may not work always because there's another team that needs to work, or you also may need to leave, right? So when we talk about Pomodoro or any other time management technique, it's never a strict rule that you have to do it in a certain way, right? Your time management, these are just guidelines which are very, very malleable. You can always change the slots according to your preference. These are the slots that have worked majorly for majority of people. That's why these timelines are there. But always they can be adjusted,
Okay, thank you.
right? The main point to take from here is that if we are working, we also need time to relax. We also need to give ourselves a physical break. And that's important even if you're working in front of a laptop. Even the doctor suggests a 20-20-20 rule, right? If you're working on your laptop for 20 minutes, 20 minutes later you focus on something which is farther than your laptop for 20 seconds so that your eyesight gets readjusted, right? In a similar way, this also what's it telling? It's physically helping your senses. It's a physical keeper, a good keeper of your health, right? So similarly, this technique, if you have a 60-minute break somewhere, okay, if you only have 3 work hours, if there is as I said, if there's a task which has been pending for a long time, but now it needs to get done, let's break it into shorter goals. If there's a task, let's break it into something smaller and see what works for us. And that task, how quickly can we complete if we use this technique? Or what time do I need to give it? Let's make our own schedule. Okay, maybe according to my timings, a 30-minute concentration period and 10-minute break may work better. Or the task requires something more than 30 minutes. But what's needed is to give yourself break. Okay?
If you still have time, can I ask you one more help?
Okay.
Yes. See, I was also with the schooling system. So we have also seen like we have periods which are next to next, we are running around. And we get 2 breaks along with the children, like 20-25 minutes for a long break and 10 minutes for a short break. In that meantime, hardly we can give time to ourselves if the children are too small. If children are
Right.
big, these teachers get a time. Other with the smaller age group teachers, they have to be continuously with the children, right
Correct.
from assembling to handing over them to the dispersal. Not even a single minute the ladies have a gap.
Hmm.
They won't even talk to their colleague or discuss for the issues they are facing. It's only like after the complete dispersal has happened, we get 15 minutes, 20 minutes per hour.
Right.
So how do we manage in these situations? We are back-to-back classes.
Okay. Even if when you say back-to-back classes, the children also have back-to-back classes, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm
But
telling. They also
yeah,
have 2
exactly.
breaks.
Exactly. So maybe as a teacher, because we have a 40-minute period, can we take out 2 minutes out of that 40-minute period and maybe just do some activity with the children? Maybe just ask them to shake their hands or have a laughing exercise there. Yes,
Hmm.
the school may not have allotted a specific gap between the two periods, just
Hmm.
40-minute periods back to back. But as teachers or as students, can we allow ourselves to give a 5-minute break in that 40-minute period? Even
We do
children.
that. We do that because the
Exactly.
concepts will be too much for the children. So in between, we take
Absolutely.
a small 2 minutes exercise and then come back.
Exactly. If and why the school periods are 40 minutes? Because even the children do not have the capacity to
No,
sit at the
right.
chair for more than 40 minutes. That in a way we are implementing what are we implementing? We're implementing work, we are implementing relaxation and the work again. For teachers, when we are asking the student to do a certain activity for relaxation, let's engage in that activity ourselves as well.
Okay. Okay.
Or when we are going for the next period, instead of, because we want ourselves to relax, instead of straight away going for teaching, maybe we can take the initial 5 minutes and talk to the children about something. Maybe how was the holiday for them, or share certain experience that you want. Let's take the point is to take our mind off the exact core work. We don't have to straight up get into the math exercise in the very first minute that we get to the class.
Okay. Thank
Correct?
you. Thank you so much.
All right. All right. I see we've overstepped the time bounds for today. Okay. So before we end this session or work, because I can go on to talk about workplace management, mental health management for hours. You can also go on to uh, ask questions and engage on this topic for hours. But what's important is to achieve a proper balance between professional life and a personal life. And how do we do that? Well, first is to prioritize self-care. Okay. Schedule or regular self-care activities. When I say self-care, it could be anything that you enjoy. Some people simply enjoy watching news over their phones or watching TV or going out with the friends or reading a book, even cooking, even eating, painting, scrolling through Instagram, even though that's not a very, very healthy way if you're doing it for 40 minutes or 4 hours straight away. But if that's something which gives you relaxation, of feeling of relief for 5 minutes, let's do it in a way where we are aware of how much time we are giving it. So self-care can be anything. It could be physical, skincare. People enjoy skincare these days. It can be watching a movie, it can be talking to a friend, it can be scrolling through websites, images, watching some videos on YouTube, anything, A to Z. Self-care is about self. It's about you. It's very subjective. As we saw in the toolbox, what a person likes, the other person may not. Correct. So this can include exercises, hobbies, simply spending time with your loved ones. When we're talking about workplace, when we're talking about work, personal life, thinking positively and spending time with the loved ones is very important. I think somebody mentioned that I talk to my parents about my career prospects, but sometimes I end up talking too much about it. But at the same time, if you don't talk about your career prospects to your parents, you will be ending up thinking about those thoughts on your own. So isn't it better to let those thoughts out and discuss it with somebody else than to chew over the thoughts over your again and maybe having those thoughts in your dreams? Who knows? So prioritize self-care. And when you do that, you're also building resilience, your ability to bounce back from your hardships. The next day, when you have a work stressor, you will be able to take it in an easier way, because even when on a good day, think about it. On a good day, when a hard task comes, your approach to the task is usually, we'll do it. Have done it, we've seen it so many times in the past, we'll do it once again, what happens? But on a bad day, or when we are overstressed, we're like, I already have so many tasks and now I have to do this as well. The only difference is the approach you take towards the task, the approach you take towards your thoughts, how you approach the situation, how you train yourself to approach the situation. Second would be establish a consistent routine. Now, routines may seem a bit methodical and some people might not like it, but at the base lies the fact that creating a daily routine incorporates both your works and personal activities, and consistency helps manage expectations. It helps you promote a sense of structure. It helps you sort out the mess that we've created out of our thoughts. It helps you create a structure of what needs to be done when it needs to be done. Yes, you may like spontaneity. Yes, you may like things being everywhere, but at the same time, there has to be a certain structure for even things to be here and there. You need to know what where is, you need to know what you need to get done, when you need to get it done, and how you will get it done. And if there's a trouble with even any one of them, discuss it with somebody. If it's work related, take it with your colleague, take it with your manager, take it with your boss if you're even comfortable with that. And if you do not, if you even if you just want to rant about your work to your friend, do it. Because when you do it, you're letting out all your stress, you're letting out all your emotions that you're piling up inside. Pick up your phone, write a message. If you don't have anyone at the moment who will pick up your call, simply take a book and rant about all the things that are there. Write about it. Record kar lo. Do a voice recording for it. But just let all of it out. Okay. Next thing that I would want to say is learn to delegate. Recognize that what's not necessary and what's necessary. You have a lot of tasks at your hand, yes, but how much time am I spending over one task, or how much thoughts I'm giving to one task? Is it okay? Does this task even require that much thoughts of mine? Does it even deserve those many thoughts? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe something else requires much more attention. Maybe something else requires much more time from my end. Work is important, but for some people, family may be more important. So if I'm giving 9 hours of time to my work, I think I deserve to give 2 hours to my family at least. And for some people, it may be even more. And for some people, it may be a lot more. Work hours may be less, prioritizing family even more. But that managing and knowing what works for you, what's important to you, it's very important. Okay, delegate tasks whenever possible, both work and home. Um, Try to distribute the load, prevent unnecessary stresses. When initially we talked about mental health, I mentioned that it's a strategic necessity because it helps you to manage your personal life, your personal tasks, as well as your office, whatever task that you have in your office, whatever situation that you will go on to experience. Okay, be it with colleagues, teams, clients, friends, whoever it is. And lastly, would be practice mindful transition. Okay, incorporate a mindful transition between your work and personal life. As we said that yes, whatever happens during the workday, I may leave it physically, but subconsciously it stays with me. But if we are aware of to what extent is it staying with me, is it hampering my time after work? Is it hampering how I'm behaving with my friends? Is it hampering how I'm behaving with my family, colleagues? Is it hampering with my personal time? If I like to paint every day, and then one day because of my work stress, I don't want to paint, I think that's an indicator that I'm letting myself stress about my work a bit too much, because now it's hampering with what I even what I like. As we talked initially, please be aware of what foods you like for the longest times possible. Because when you lose touch of that, that's a very, very strong indicator of losing touch with what you like in your personal life. Okay. Now, the transition between your work and personal life, it could be a very, very brief moment of reflection, because all you need there is insight. All you need there is to reflect upon what you're doing, how you're doing, and how it's impacting your life. Okay. So, if you find it difficult, put a reminder for your own self that now I'm leaving, I need to focus on this. Or ask a friend or somebody to check in on you. If you are a colleague, even if you are a team manager, if you're the HR, if you are in L&D, if you are a project manager, if you're somewhere where you have colleagues or where you have some juniors or some people who are working under you, your responsibility is not just to manage yourself, but also manage the other people, right? So, some common signs that you can watch for at your workplace is changes in behavior. If s- Today, if somebody you talk to every day or somebody you see every day, you have a bit of idea of how they behave, how they talk, and how what they wear or something, right? But then few days later, you see them coming in with a bit more slouched way, or they're not talking as energetically as they were before, or maybe they're not making conversation, they're a bit aloof, they're withdrawing from social activities, or they're behaving in a bit more irritable manners. Like they're noticeable mood swings. Maybe you can check in with them. That's when you notice. If you notice there's something wrong, check in with them in a polite manner. There's nothing wrong with checking in with people, right? And if you feel that you're not on that level, maybe talk to a colleague who is close to them, or do it in a subtle manner where it won't feel crossing boundaries. Okay, if you see there's a shift in performance of a particular team member, and which has missed deadlines, decreased productivity, talk to them. You don't have to do it in front of the entire team. Separately, you can talk to them. If you, as a team member, are missing deadlines and you feel there are certain stressors, talk about it to the person who you trust. Yes, some people might say that I don't trust my colleagues at work, and maybe I'm not as close to them. Talk to a person about it. Anyone who you're close to. And if possible, talk to your team manager, a colleague that you trust at work, because they have a better idea of what things are like at your workplace. Okay, some physical symptoms that you may notice could be unexplained headaches, fatigues, changes in sleep pattern. If you were a good sleeper, you were able to sleep for 6 hours every day, but now you're not able to do that. You wake up in between. It can be due to some stresses that you may have. Emotional instability, frequent mood swings, persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness, your inability to cope with stressors, avoiding social interactions, increased isolation, disinterest in activities that you once found enjoyable. All of them are certain signs that you can notice for in yourself as well as in your colleagues at workplace. Okay. Um, Unexplained aches and pains. If the point being, if you are ever feeling physically ill, we quickly go to a doctor or we consult with somebody. But with mental health, we often try to put it for later, because like it's because of work. Kya hi ho jayega? We will revisit it sometime. But no, if we take care of a physical health, we need to take care of mental health as well. Try to delegate what stressor is just because of work, and take a knowledge, take an insight of when that workplace stressor is now playing a major role in how you behave in your personal life. If you do that, you will also know when you need to talk to a counselor. Okay, normalize help seeking behavior at your workplace. Oftentimes, we don't want to seek help because it may make us seem weak in front of others. But that's not the case. A lot of times, we're just hesitant, but once we approach, we'll realize that, okay, a lot of people need help. Destigmatizing mental health, accessibility of resources, educate people, if you are in a good space today, and or if you've ever overcome a difficult period, then if you're okay with it, try helping other people out of their difficult period, because you've been through that space and you know how difficult it is for people to reach out. Make yourself available, okay? So encourage regular check-ins between your team members, your team leaders, your managers, colleagues. These check-ins can actually provide you opportunities to discuss your well-being, and as well as um, provide you a chance to offer support, connect with people, and who knows, you might even get the correct resource. Talk to the HR if possible. And I think at workplace today, the environment is much more inclusive. At least on paper it is. So for some companies, on paper and off paper, it exists in both ways. And try recognizing what works for you. If you feel your work culture is something which you cannot cope with at all, and you've tried every possible method, I think it's time to make a switch. And if not, therapists are always there, irrespective of whether you're feeling good or not. Okay, as a counselor, personally, I say this. You do not have to visit me only when you are feeling very, very bad or you're in very bad shape. We always take preventions, okay? Prevention is better than cure. We've heard of that saying for so long. So all of these methods, the self-care, the um, prioritizing own health, taking care of the time, all of these are what? These are ways to prevent something. These are ways to make ourselves more efficient at work, make ourselves more mentally healthy, make ourselves a better community member. I will stop this session today here itself, because I feel everybody's getting a bit everybody might get a bit sleepy towards the later point. Okay. But yeah, I tried to cover a lot of things today, but I think a lot of people might have questions. You can always reach out to me. I think me and Muskan will schedule another session maybe next weekend if possible, or wherever that is, we'll schedule a time. I hope to see you all again there. You can always reach out. I'll share my details here. Okay. If you want to connect with me over email, this is my email address. For LinkedIn as well, I'll share my ID. If you want, second. That's there. On Instagram, me and my supervisor, I have a supervisor as well. We started a new page called Sai Sage. I have it here as well on there. Okay, you can find it with the name of Happy Minds and Forever, or Sai Sage. It's a relatively new page. We don't post very often, so don't feel like you will get spammed about mental health things there a lot. But from time to time, if you want to reach out to us for sessions, you can reach out here as well through this page. You can give it a follow. I hope I was able to answer your questions today. We are a bit short on time for question and answer sessions. You can share all your questions that you have over the email with me, and I'll try to answer all your queries to the best possible, to the best of my capabilities there. Yes, we can see Muskan's cat Luna is here to give us a hi. She's been, I think, purring for a good time now. And yeah, I think that would be all from my end. Muskan, if you would like to take it forward.
Yeah. Okay. Acha, ab jao, jao. Yeah. Okay. So, first thing first, Shruti, there's one person that would like to talk to you. So I think, I'm sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. There was this one chat from somebody. I will suggest that Shruti has shared her details. Please feel free to contact her in case you need any help. I think it was Maharshi Raj. She messaged a long paragraph. Please, if you get some time, please contact her. And next thing is, like, this is our second session that we are conducting, and always the motive of the session is to talk about mental health, to actually make it a topic that is not that much, I will say, taboo in the society. So that is why we are going to conduct more sessions, that is for sure. And anything that we are talking about here, we are actually like last time we kept a fees, this time we did not keep a fees. And it's always going to be something that will be affordable or free for all of you. So please feel free to join the sessions. Please feel free to talk to Shruti if you need any help regarding mental health. I have taken some points like which kind of thing you want me to cover in the next session. Maybe we'll try that thing out as well. One more thing that I want to ask is somebody wrote that this is a marketing strategy. Okay, I don't know. That's totally fine. And I don't think so that was a marketing strategy, but it's okay if you feel that way. Can't do anything. Let me just quickly share a feedback form with all of you. I hope that this session gave you a little bit information, more information about how to manage your mental health at the workplace. The only thing that I like to say in the end is don't feel alone. Please talk to somebody. If you feel like I cannot talk to my family, talk to a friend. If you cannot talk to a friend, maybe talk to your family if that is the case. If you cannot feel comfortable around anyone, please go to a therapist. Any therapist. It's not necessarily Shruti, it's not necessarily any therapist that is staying in your area. You can do online therapy, you can visit them, totally what is comfortable with your end. But please talk it up. When you go and talk it out, right, you will feel that you will lower the burden that you have. So please talk it out to anyone that you feel comfortable with. It's not necessarily going to be a friend, family, colleague, but please do talk it out.
Absolutely. To add with that, so industry professionals who've been in the field for 25 years plus, who are doing well, two cents from them, always be positive and always be able to talk to anyone about all the problems that you may have. Okay. I'm here for you. We are here for you. You can always reach out to us. And yeah, have a good day.
Yep, that's it. Please fill the feedback. If you have anything, you can talk to me, you can talk to Shruti. You all, I guess everybody knows about my LinkedIn and everything, so you can please message me there. Feel free to talk out. Anything that you feel like is a little too personal to be talked out here, you can contact Shruti separately for that. Okay. And thank you so much for attending the session. Hopefully, I'll see you all in the next session as well. And I have seen some topics that were suggested. We'll probably try to take any one of these. If you have any questions, I think Shruti, for a minute, you can take it. We'll complete it after
I'll
9:41.
take up the questions over the email. You all can send me the questions over the email. I'll answer every question to the best of my possibilities. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Thank you so much for joining. I had a wonderful session. Thank you so much, Shruti. It wouldn't have been possible without you.
Thanks everyone for joining in. Let's meet again soon.
Bye-bye, everyone. Take care.